Welcome back to Right Answers Mostly, a podcast on what you didn't learn in history class, but you really wanted to. I'm Claire Donald.
And I'm Tess Bellomo.
Welcome to another week of spooky season, Rammies.
Ooh, it is spooky as hell out there.
Did you see the fog rolling in lately?
Yes.
It's been crazy.
I watched a scary movie last night.
What movie did you watch?
Hear No Evil with James McAvoy.
Why does it sound so familiar, the Hear No Evil?
It's like that couple that goes to stay with that other couple in like the country.
Oh, already scary.
It was so good.
A couple's trip in the country?
It was so good. Like, I really can feel like a good thriller in spooky season, and I think you'd like it.
What is your favorite scary movie?
What Lies Beneath.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's with, what's her face? That gorgeous angel from, oh my God, what's her name?
Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford. And it's like a very 90s, like slow burn. Like, you would love it. It almost is like if a Nancy Meyers movie was a thriller.
Can you imagine? Nancy Meyers should do a thriller.
Nancy Meyers, get on that, girlfriend.
Oh my God. Hear our cries. Harrison Ford, the young pictures of Harrison Ford. Hubba hubba.
Harrison Ford in this movie, you'd like it.
Oh, I would like it.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Strangers.
With Scott Speedman?
Yes. I think the scariest movie of all time.
I did not know that you loved this movie.
I think it is the scariest movie of all time because it's so realistic.
Why are you doing this?
Because you were home.
Wow.
Liv Tyler is so gorgeous.
Scott Speedman, love.
I know. It's so good.
I watched about half of it and I was like, I'm shaking. Like, I feel like I'm going to throw up, and I never finish it, but I know what happens.
Yeah, you guys, I highly recommend. Well, don't watch it when you're home alone.
No, I don't. I just don't know if I can do it.
It's so scary. But I watched the original, and we talked about this last year, the original Halloween last year, and I loved it.
I really love, as long as it's not gory.
Yeah.
I actually really do enjoy a scary movie.
When I was younger, one of my blockbuster movies was The Ring and The Ring 2. I really felt that, and we can look into that later.
It was a time.
It was such a time.
I also love like the 90s, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, like those sort of
I need to see those.
Oh, they're fun. And everyone's like so hot and young in them.
Say no more.
It's like Sarah Michelle Gellar at her prime. It's like, God damn.
I don't know. Scooby-Doo is a great prime for...
She's a gorgeous woman.
She is a great... And Freddie Prinze Jr. Talk about jumping beeping when I was younger.
Talk about like the one couple that has remained so strong.
No kidding.
And I genuinely believe that like they are monogamous and happy. I mean, we don't know.
We don't know, and we'll never know.
No, we won't.
No, but welcome to spooky season, guys. We loved our episode with Bose last week.
Yes.
It was so much fun. We have an amazing lineup for spooky season. Tess, what are you doing next for premium?
For premium, I am covering Candy Montgomery. If you saw the show on HBO, Love and Death, and then the other show that Jessica Biel was in, which I forget the title of.
I think it's called Candy.
Candy.
Yeah.
It's about a housewife that kills someone with an axe.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy story, and I'm really enjoying my research with it.
Can't wait.
We're going to do a lot of script work, a lot of, like reconnect with our acting, because we want you guys to get on premium.
Get on premium. The thing is that premium is 3 bonus episodes a month for $7.99. You get the whole back catalog of ever since we've ever started premium.
And not a bad thing to do before the holidays when you're home, when you're, on more flights than usual, when you need a little solo podcast time.
Exactly.
We got you covered.
And premium, even with the history lesson, so it's one history lesson, and then the other ones are just us gossiping or catching up. But we get so much more personal. We say things that we can't say on the public platform. We tell stories that we cannot tell on the public platform.
And there's just no way we'd get sued.
No, we truly would. Or like
bullied.
Bullied, yeah, exactly. Or lose friends. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
We have to keep it to premium, but you can join in the show notes. And another perk of premium is that you get first access to merch. Today, our premium Rammies are buying hats right now.
It's all on our close friends story and post, and so they're buying these hats. They're so cute. We've kind of teased what they look like, but you guys get one. They're so cute.
They'll be available by this time that you're listening to it. It's a History is Just Gossip hat. It's so cute. If you're not joining premium, though, you only get half the story. So
that's true. And the hats are $30, but they go, directly into our podcast and making sure
directly into our pocket.
Pocket. But, some people are like, why would it be $30?
No,
and
it supports the show.
It supports the show more than you know.
Yeah.
And so please consider buying one.
Please. And it's just going to be so fun. If you guys have bought a hat when it gets to you, please post.
Imagine it with like a long trench. Like, you know what I mean?
Stop.
Like with your favorite daughter one.
Yes. And with some sambas would be so cute.
Cute, like flare jeans. Like
we are fashion girlies.
Fashion.
That is so cute.
Cute. So guys, do it.
And follow us while you're there on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube at Right Answers Mostly. Give us a 5-star review and subscribe to the show.
Do it.
And with that all out of the way, Tess, this one definitely got requested a lot.
Yeah.
There's a theme this month, female killers.
Love.
And axes.
Love.
Well, not technically an axe, a hatchet, but like one and the same.
Oof. Same motivation.
100%. Today we are covering Lizzie Borden.
This is one of the subjects that I don't know anything about. I've never heard a single thing about her.
I'm so excited because this is a very much like a discussion piece at the end. So I think that will be really fun. So, okay, we don't know anything about her.
Literally nothing, Claire.
What a fun place to start.
Literally nothing.
Well, okay, so my citations for Lizzie Borden, this website, the LizzieBordenCollection.com, our stepfather Wikipedia, our cool older sister, You're Wrong About, and a Medium article by Alexa I think it's supposed to be Backsal, but I accidentally put Backsack. I don't know, maybe it is that. But Alexa, thank you so much for your service.
We appreciate it.
We really do. Okay, Tess, let's get into it. So Lizzie Andrew Borden was tried and acquitted of the August 4th, 1892 axe murders of her father and stepmother in Fall River, Massachusetts. So the Lizzie Borden murder case is one of the most famous in American criminal history. The suspected killer was immortalized by an eerie rhyme passed down through generations. You ready for it?
Yes.
Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Tess's face. Check us out on YouTube.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh, so this is like in the 1800s. Interesting.
Which I love. And I think someone suggested this and said, like, this is a good mix of like spooky and history.
And like, I love like a petticoat moment of like a female serial killer.
We
like
love a petticoat moment.
You know what I mean?
Victorian
The vibes are
vibes.
like, oh God, is my memory okay? I'm like, am I slowly going? Fortnite with Taylor, and, you know, like I imagine her in that outfit.
Tess, that's perfect.
Oh my God.
Okay, so let's all live in the Tortured Poets department for a moment.
We're black and white. We have Posty. That's being a sweet angel as always.
God, I wish he was right here at this table.
He's so sweet.
Are you attracted to him?
Yes.
Same.
And I'm attracted to. I think he's a good person.
Same.
And like the way that he calls, when I saw him calling Taylor Swift ma'am.
Yeah. He's a good Texas boy.
He's a Texas boy.
And we love that.
With like his red cup on set, probably full of whiskey at like 10 a.m. But you know, hey.
Well, he probably is a little bit stinky, but we do like that.
He's tinky.
He's tinky boy. But we love Posty. So
we do.
Everyone just put yourself in that mindset. And shall we begin?
Let's begin.
Okay, so Lizzie Andrew Borden, which Andrew is a middle name for a girl.
It's hot.
Chic.
It really is.
I love that. Lizzie Andrew Borden was born on July 19th, 1860 in Fall River, Massachusetts. July 19th.
Oh, Leo. No, Cancer?
Yes.
Still?
Cancer.
Oh, I always forget.
Yeah.
Wait, Cancer goes till when?
I think like July 23rd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she's a little bit, not like cusps exist, but if they did.
Well,
Cuspy vibe?
I think that she definitely leans more to the Cancer. Guys, you just don't want to make a Cancer upset. No. Speaking from someone who has many Cancer girlfriends, it's scary out there.
It's the scariest thing you'll ever experience. Right, guys, I love you, but you do, it's scary.
And Cancer men don't even get me started. But I love a Cancer woman, but like, my God, the emotions and the rage can just be haunting.
I don't know a lot of Cancer men.
Okay. Oh, Jax Taylor, Tom Sandoval's Cancer.
Oh, okay, say no more. God help us.
Yeah, okay. So Lizzie is a Cancer. So Fall River, where she grew up, had mostly a waspy population, but at this time in the late 1800s, we have a lot of immigration coming in, mainly Portuguese, Italian, and Irish immigrants. But whenever there was a crime, who did they blame?
The immigrants.
The immigrants. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Gee, I grow tired.
Grow so tired.
It's a tale as old as time. Get a new storyline.
Truly. So that was something that was really happening in Fall River. Lizzie was the youngest child in her family. Her older sister was Emma, and she was quite a bit older than her. She was 9 years older than her. Her parents were Sarah Borden and Andrew Jackson Borden. Lizzie and Emma's mom died when she was 2 and Lizzie was 2 from disease of the spine and uterine congestion.
So like childbirth, like something with childbirth?
I don't know. It's like 2 years.
Spine.
Like uterine congestion. It's like the Nene Leakes thing of whatever that means.
Oh, God.
Like, yikes.
Sounds terrible.
Sounds terrible. So when Lizzie's 2, her mom dies. Emma is 11 at that point, which is like a really tough age. Oof. And when her mom dies, she makes Emma promise that like you are going to be a mother figure to Lizzie, which is also a lot of responsibility for a little 11-year-old in the 1800s.
So much to take on.
Yeah. So Lizzie and Emma were super close. And then only 3 years after the mom's death, Andrew remarries to this woman named Abby, and Emma no likey.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
Yeah, there's a reason we have a step parent.
There really is
in our family tree, in our citation family tree.
Yes, we don't touch that.
Emma was very much like, you're not my mom, and just remember that, Abby.
You gotta assert your boundaries.
You
have to.
But Lizzie was Lizzie didn't really have a problem with Abby because Lizzie was 5 when they got married. So she kind of saw her as a motherly figure. Although I think for most of her life, Lizzie called Abby Mrs. Borden. She didn't call her mom and she didn't call her Abby.
That's weird for Abby to not be like, hey, kid, just call me Abby. That's like haunting kind of.
Well, Abby, I know. No, it definitely is. But like the 1800s, like kind of a haunting time anyways.
Everyone was cold.
Yeah, which is perfect for spooky season. So her name was Abby Durfee Gray, and she was described as grayish and unnoticeable.
Why did you get married to her? Grayish. God, I've never thought about. I mean, that might be like top 5 worst things someone can call you.
I feel like people were just so cruel about women in the 1800s. My God.
Oh my God, it's continued now.
No, ain't that the truth? So it's her first marriage. She's 37 years old. So she was considered an old maid when they got married, Tess. Because she was unmarried at 37. She was also considered a spinster, which I just watched Real Housewives of OC, and Shannon called herself a spinster.
I know. I was like, Shannon, be easier on yourself, sweetheart. Like, God, no one has suffered more
than Shannon Mator. Alice, that's for you. But like, I was like, what is a spinster? So I looked it up, and a spinster is a term referring to an unmarried woman who is older than what is perceived as the prime age range during which women usually marry. It could also indicate that a woman is considered unlikely to ever marry, which spinster sounds so much like sexier than that.
Yeah, well, we should rebrand spinster.
Yeah.
Spinster is like hot women that get married in their late 30s and early 40s, let's
like
say.
When they know themselves better.
Yes, when it's like time.
When it is time, honey. That was not the case back then. It was very much like, wow, you're washed up.
You're disgusting.
And Abby's family was like struggling financially.
They're like, she's gray and she's annoying. Take her.
Please take her. And Andrew was like, God, I have these 2 daughters. He needs a motherly figure and a housekeeper. Ugh, what a time.
I hate to be a woman during these days.
We are so lucky. Like, listen, there are so many issues, but at least we're not considered old maids. I mean, maybe we are.
I know. Maybe some people think we are.
But we're reclaiming that. Well, you're engaged, so you're on your way. Okay, so like I said, Abby's family was struggling financially. Andrew was not. Now, as a kid, Andrew was from a wealthy family, but it was kind of like a Vanderbilt situation where it's like his family is this rich family, but his immediate family didn't handle money very well. So you might have the name, but it's like they were actually struggling financially. He would say that he was self-made. He eventually got into the manufacturing and sales of caskets. Ooh. And that's how he started making his money.
God, but there is a lot of money in that, isn't there?
And like, people are always going to die. So that's never going to
it's like one business you should actually really invest in, because it's like, alcohol will go up and down, cosmetics will go up and down.
The housing market.
But one thing that you can, be sure about
is death. And there was a rumor, and it got even bigger. Your face. When he died, it got even bigger, that he would cut people's feet off to make them shorter so that he could make the caskets smaller so that they were cheaper to make and like pump them out.
Oh my God.
But that's just a rumor. There's lots of rumors in this episode.
The rumors
and the nastiness.
Honey, I know it.
I mean, history is just gossip.
Ain't that the truth?
So he starts making money off caskets, but then he becomes a successful property developer. He got into commercial real estate. We love that.
We do.
And he was the director of several textile mills. He was also the president of the Union Savings Bank. At his death, Andrew Borden's estate was valued at $300,000, which, calculator, is the equivalent to $10 million in 2024.
Good for him.
And it's like, $300,000 goes so much further in the 1800s than $10 million goes today.
You can have like 10 houses back then.
Like, you are so rich.
We're like, now, God, 10 million. I'm almost like, hey, you could probably have a couple houses and call it a day.
I could spend $2 million in a day easy.
We pretty much did when we went to New York.
It's so
and
true.
We'll do it again.
Don't tempt us with a good time.
Please don't.
But so he is rich, bitch. However, despite being one of the wealthiest men in town, and like this is a rich town, he was a penny pincher. Like you would never. literally, I was like, he's bothering me.
There's nothing more unattractive than, we've talked about this, than if you're stingy and you're rich.
Exactly. And he was more like, I would say less like stingy, and he would say like more frugal.
Yeah, that's what they always say to make themselves sound better.
It's so
being
true.
selfish.
He, like, you would not know his financial standing. They didn't live in the wealthy neighborhood, and the wealthy neighborhood was known as the Hill. And it's like Bel Air. It's like the Pacific Palisades. It's like where all of the rich people live.
Why wouldn't you want to live there?
He lived in the neighborhood that was like close to the factories, and a lot of the immigrants were moving to that neighborhood. And he was like, I want to be closer to work. And the Hill is further from work.
Well, I respect that, I guess.
I know, but Hill.
Also, like, and then you have to put your family through, like, just.
Yeah. I'm sure you can imagine how Emma and Lizzie felt about that.
Yeah.
She's not happy.
No, I bet my life has been hard enough. My mother died.
Yeah.
I want to be on the Hill.
Not only that, they didn't have electricity, which was like available at that time for them, and indoor plumbing.
They didn't have any of that?
They could have, but Andrew was like, I don't trust this new technology, so I'm not going to use it. So they had like chamber pots in their room, and apparently I think they had an outhouse in the basement, but like, my God, who wants to go down to the basement?
He's reminding me of like a Denver bro, you know, that's like, yeah, I'm just going to hike and like, I don't need all that stuff. And it's like, yes, you do.
Yes, you really do.
But
and like, take a
please,
shower.
Take a shower.
Yeah,
put on deodorant.
Something. My God, Andrew. So that would be really frustrating. And it is a problem for Lizzie and Emma, because it's like, why are we living this way? We should be living on the hill with a toilet.
Yeah.
And also their house didn't have hallways, because Andrew thought that they were a waste of space. So it was like a jumble of interconnected space, which I'm still like kind of confused about. But it was basically just like one room led to another room.
Oh.
Yeah. And so it's like
stressful.
Yes. And which, like, imagine, so as Emma and Lizzie are getting older, since they're not married, they still live at home with their parents.
Right.
So imagine these like women in their 30s living with their parents, with Abby and Andrew, with no hallways.
Yeah, like, yeah, no privacy.
So tension's like getting heightened.
Right, of course.
God, if I were Abby too, I'd be like, it is time for you to fly the coop.
No, I'd be like,
friend.
let me try to matchmake, because like, I need my time.
With my husband.
Yeah, truly.
Who married me even though I was gray.
Exactly. We probably have no sex life, but maybe we have a better chance if you're gone.
Like, no way.
If she's gray, who's having sex?
We need to get her some Saint-Tropez self-tanner, like make her an appointment at Sugar and Bronze.
Truly, I'm like, your makeover starts now.
I think it would make her feel better about herself. And then also, Lizzie and Emma were kind of like, is our dad living this way? Like, is Abby making him live this way so that there will be more money left for her? Like, that's kind of a question.
It's always the thought process at that age.
Of course. However, Abby's allowance for being a wife, which I guess was a thing back then, was the same amount as her stepdaughters. And she's not really running the house like Lizzie is at this point. So it's not like she's taking over the family Meredith Blake style.
Right.
Like, she is very...
She's chilling.
She's chilling. And she's honestly like, yeah, no, Andrew's just cheap. I would also love more money.
Right.
And I feel for Abby, because after, like, Abby was just so nothing, which makes me sad, because after Andrew died, people were like talking about him, good or bad. And then Abby, they were like, who?
Yeah, that's tough.
Do you watch Arrested Development?
I've seen the first season.
Okay, she's giving. Oh fuck! Now I'm gonna forget the name. She's giving. Is it Anne?
Portia de Rossi?
No, it's Michael Cera's girlfriend, and they're always like, the fact that I can't remember her name now is so
like perfect. That makes so much sense.
Yes, and that they're literally always like, her, like, that was very much Abby's vibe, which is so sad.
That is sad.
Okay, so yes, like I said, Lizzie was 32 living at home, and Emma was 41, and there was one other person living in the house. They had an Irish servant that they called Maggie. But Tess, her real name was Bridget. But the fact that their last Irish servant's name was Maggie, they were like, just keep it the same.
Oh my God.
That's so awful.
That is awful.
Yeah, literally. So they were just like, no, you're actually just Maggie now.
It's truly like Devil Wears Prada.
Yes.
Where Meryl Streep is like, what's her name?
Andy?
Yeah. Yeah, but what does she call her? Before.
Are we okay today?
Are we okay? I literally was like, should I get some like books and stuff to start doing like memory? Like
some Sudoku,
like something. I'm like, am I too much TikTok?
Well, yes, definitely same for me. Definitely same. But we'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
We'll just let our brains rot.
It's true.
So, okay, the girls' relationship with Abby at this point when they're in their adult life, like I said, Emma does not feel Abby. Lizzie's kind of like, you're fine. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But they did have a good relationship with their dad. And Lizzie was very close to her dad. He didn't wear a wedding ring, though, but he did wear a thin gold band that Lizzie had given to him. I think it was like her high school ring. And she gives it to him. He wears it, I think, on his pinky. And him wearing that ring led to rumors that him and Lizzie had an incestuous relationship. And that's what led to the axe murders. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like that is like quite a conclusion to come to.
If there's no other evidence that was happening.
Yes. And also it's like, if he's wearing this ring on his pinky, like, my God.
I mean, that can just be like a nice gesture. Like, would I think it's weird if... I don't know. I actually really don't know because I have no like concept of this sort of thing. So
this is something we can't speak on, but I just feel like that's a little intense to think that. But hey, they were bored back then.
Yeah, God, I mean that is true. It was a little bit more common.
Well, right? I meant that people were bored, not sleeping with their family, that they were talking and making up rumors.
But wasn't like, when did like incestuous relations become less common?
Well, I guess how close are we talking? Because with Queen Victoria, again, they were first cousins.
I mean, still pretty bad, but father-daughters. Like,
that is, I don't think that's ever really been okay.
That's true.
Yeah, and it was just a rumor. And that was the rumors and the nastiness.
The nastiness.
Yeah. But then tensions get worse with Abby, the stepmom, and Lizzie and Emma, because Abby's stepsister, gets kicked out of her house because she can't afford to pay rent. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
There's another one? In the house?
No, but Abby goes to Andrew, her husband. She's like, babe, how sick would it be if we bought my sister a house? And Andrew was like, you know what? I think we can pull that. Like, we definitely can. I have so much money.
Well, that's nice.
So he buys Abby's sister a house. But then Lizzie and Emma are like, you won't even put plumbing in our house, but you'll buy this bitch a house?
Oof, that would piss me off.
Yeah, well, they were very mad about it.
Take care of your daughters.
Exactly. Even though, like, Lizzie and Emma were living fine, but they're like,
but plumbing.
But plumbing. Yeah. So they get really upset with him about that. They tell their dad that they deserve some real estate too. Mm-hmm. And they demand that they should get the house that they lived in until their mother died, which was a rental property at the moment. And their dad was like, okay, fine. He sells it to them for $1, which calculator would be about $30 today.
Wow.
So these girls are like...
They're fine.
They're fine.
They're doing just fine.
And they rent out the house for some income, and then they're like, we don't want to do this anymore.
They're like, we don't really need to do this, and we don't like strangers.
It's too much work.
Yeah.
So they sold the property back to their father for $5,000, which would be $170,993. So that's not the right math. $171,000.
Okay.
Today. But like... they made quite a profit off that, considering they bought it for $1.
No kidding.
Yeah. So they're playing him like a fiddle.
They're real estate angels.
They are real estate angels.
They really are?
They're like, that is how you flip a house, babe. Okay. So Lizzie is a spinster. Emma's a spinster. But like, what else is her personality like?
There's nothing else you can really say.
There's nothing else to her back then at the time. No, she was very involved at the church. She taught Sunday school to children of immigrants. She was treasurer of the Young Women's Christian Temperance Movement. Yeah, like not a lot going on at the moment.
Got it.
Yeah, so she's the part of in the temperance movement. Check out actually our first ever episode that we never released is on Premium, and it's about prohibition.
The first one, you get to see us being all nervous and cute.
Oh my God, I don't know about cute, but we were so nervous.
It's pretty endearing.
Yeah, but the temperance movement was like women getting together and being like, the men are getting so drunk and obnoxious, and something has got to stop.
And like they're cheating on us now.
They're cheating on us.
And they're using alcohol as an excuse.
Exactly. And so she was a part of that, and she was like, cut it out, guys.
Yeah.
She was also an animal lover. She was a passionate advocate for animal rescue leagues, which I love. She ends up building, and we'll talk about this, she built a roost for pigeons, or allegedly.
Oh.
Which, like, there's a lot of pigeon work in our lives these days.
Allegedly. Just like, why is that controversial?
I'll get to it.
Okay.
Just know it's
a little
legend.
foreshadow.
A little foreplay.
Oh, foreplay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there is a lot of pigeon work happening right now.
If you guys are watching Real Housewives in New York.
I'm just like, enough.
Enough with the pigeons.
So many pigeons in Paris.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wow, they were scaring me. They were trying to get my little baguette.
They're like, sister, you don't know how it works here.
Yeah, they're like,
you give us.
run the show.
We run this shit in Paris. Yeah, well, Lizzie loved her pigeons, so and she loved her animals. But okay, this is actually we're gonna get to the pigeon work right now.
I need to hear about it.
So, in May of 1892, a few months before the murders, apparently Andrew killed multiple pigeons in his barn with a hatchet, believing that they were attracting local children to hunt them. Out of like Lizzie's pigeon roost. And it's been commonly recounted that she was like, I loved these pigeons so much and you killed them. And so she was upset over his killing of them. So then know that she's upset about the pigeons, okay?
Yeah.
And then cut to, there's a daytime burglary at the house and some jewelry, $81, streetcar tickets were stolen from the primary bedroom. And Andrew forbade the girls from talking about the burglary, but there was some talks that he thought that the burglary was actually Lizzie avenging her pigeons.
She's like, I need that $81.
Yeah. And so she was pissed, and so she went and stole from her dad. So that's like, that was, and the reason why we're saying allegedly is because like these were all just like rumors that people were talking about later, being like, and that's why she killed him later.
Okay. So the pigeons could be the start of this whole journey.
Yeah. You kill my pigeons, I kill you.
And often they are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they really are. I mean, they've got us talking right now.
Truly.
So Lizzie also had a brief history of shoplifting, which I actually never went through a shoplifting stage. But I feel like a lot of teenage girls do.
Yeah. Well, this feels very like rich bitch of her, you know? Like
she was.
It's always the rich kids that are like, I need to feel something, and they think there's no consequences. I only shoplifted once when I was a kid in CVS. I got little flower earrings, and I thought my mom would think it was funny. And so we walked out, and I was like, look at these. And she was like, what are you? And she got so upset, and I had to go back to the cashier and say what I had done.
Did you cry?
Probably. I think it like
I would have sobbed.
it taught me a lesson. But then I did shoplift a few times in, at my college cafeteria.
What do you mean, like stole a roll?
I used to steal some things at that cafeteria,
Can't
like
even get into
chips
it.
and stuff.
Okay.
I'd put them in my backpack.
How much was that tuition?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I do sometimes feel bad that I stole a handful of things.
You can do a living amends, go down the street and start just like, tossing out bags of chips and give them back to the world.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it'll all even out.
That's true. I'm like, will I get in trouble for saying that? Is that bad karma that I just said that?
No, I think you're admitting to it.
Okay.
If anything, it's good karma.
Okay. If anyone else from college is listening, did you guys ever do that in the caf? I mean, it was so expensive.
Well,
bag of chips was like $7. I'm like, this school does
ridiculous.
not need the money.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You
Giving
also went to
back.
like a private university.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the Jesuits are fine.
Yeah. They always are.
They always are.
Yeah. So she went through a little brief shoplifting thing, and like to add to like the richness and the privilege, like it was scrubbed from it like was in the newspaper for a second, and it was like scrubbed from the newspaper, which I don't know how that works, because like once, in the words of Dorinda Medley, say it, forget it, write it, regret it. So I don't know how they got that scrubbed, but somehow they did.
I wonder what she shoplifted.
I think it was art. It was like two nice art. It was two pieces of art.
Okay, that's intense. That's different than
Also,
like.
how do you steal that? But there were big dresses. We're in the tortured poets department
so
dresses.
she could just put it under her
probably
hoop skirt.
Under her hoop skirt. Yeah, she had some like hooks in there, and she just hung them up.
Damn, the girl wanted some art.
She did. So she shoplifted. She got that scrubbed. Okay. Now we're leading up to the murder test.
Mm-hmm.
On August 2nd, 1892. A day, I actually think this is 2 days before the murder, a day or two before the murders, and the high heat of summer, okay? In Massachusetts, it's hot.
In that dress.
In that dress, the entire household, even Bridget Maggie, the servant, gets horrible food poisoning. Turns out it was the mutton that they had left on the stove. They didn't know how to like care for meat, so they like made mutton, which I think is lamb.
Oof.
Or like a sheep.
There is nothing like some lamb food poisoning. Talk about a gray meat.
Gray. So they had like made it and then just left it out.
Oh,
and then they're like, oh, we can eat this now. No. They get so sick. It's like the bridesmaid scene in the Borden house.
If it's a maybe with food, it's a no. Okay.
It's a no.
It's never worth it.
But they didn't like have refrigerators, so they just like did not realize it. It's the bridesmaid scene in the wedding shop. P.S. We don't have plumbing. We don't have plumbing.
Wow, it all goes back to that they should have gotten plumbing.
I would just look at Andrew right now and be like, you happy now?
So they're all shitting in like those buckets?
In the buckets. I think they're like
up.
running outside and shitting. Like, oh, you're shitting in the street.
Oh, shit in the street.
She's doing it.
You're really doing it.
You're really doing it. Like, it's really bad. And Lizzie confides in her friend Alice the night before the murders that she thinks that their milk had been poisoned and that around the break-in, the time that their house got broken into, she did seem to see a shadowy figure around the house one night. And she also heard her father having an argument with an unknown gentleman over a rental property. So she's like, I'm kind of worried that someone's going after my dad.
Okay.
And someone like tried to poison us.
Interesting.
Which is like, no, you just really can't eat meat that's been left out.
Yeah, like I get the thought process, but also just like, yeah.
Yeah. Then Lizzie's maternal uncle, John Morris, surprises them the day before the murders and stays at their house for a visit.
He's like ready for a vacation. They're all like, bah.
And also like, God, it's just so hot outside. The smell.
I actually like cannot with this time period.
And everyone is sick. Oh, my God.
Any time period before AC is, I can't think about it.
No, it's not a safe place to be. So he shows up, and I'm sure they're like, please get out. But he stays at their...
This is not the time.
This is really not a good time. He stays at their house for a visit. He's their maternal uncle, so is their deceased mom's brother. And he was known as a horse trader, which I guess wasn't the most trustworthy person. I'm kind of like, I don't really know, and I didn't follow up with more
horse
of that.
trader?
A horse trader.
It's like Bethany Frankel's dad vibes.
100%. And that's
so much Bravo in this episode.
We love that.
We love.
And that's all you need to know. And I think it was like kind of those vibes. So he stays the night in the guest room, and then he leaves the next morning on August 4th, 1892 to run errands. Okay, so we are on the morning of the murder.
Okay.
So their Uncle John Morris, he runs errands. Then Andrew, the dad, he gets up and he goes to run some errands.
What are you guys getting?
Listen, back then, like you had to go everywhere to do shit.
That's
and
true.
like get things. So errands were to be had.
Okay, that is true.
So inside the house, Abby asks Bridget Maggie to wash the windows that day. And she's like, I'm going to call her by her real name now because she deserves some goddamn justice. So then Bridget was like, Abby, I really still feel so sick. And Abby was like, I don't care. The windows need to be washed. Go wash the windows.
What a little bitch.
Such a little bitch. So Bridget does. And then Lizzie comes down the stairs afterwards. And then most of the morning, Bridget was outside washing the windows. At around 9:30, she stopped to talk to the housekeeper next door who was also washing the windows. I'm sure she was like, I hate my life.
Like literally, get us out of here.
I hate it here.
I hate it here.
So they're chatting around 9:30. Emma, the sister, was out of town for a dress fitting at this point.
Of course.
So Lizzie was around doing various chores, and she didn't leave the house all day. At 10:45 a.m., Andrew arrives back home. And the front door is locked. So Bridget runs to open it because it's usually unlocked. And then Bridget says that she hears Lizzie laugh on either the front stairs or the front landing. So then Andrew announces that he's going to go take a nap. Lizzie briefly talks to her father. She goes into the kitchen where Bridget is. So Andrew goes to the living room to take a nap. Lizzie and Bridget talk about a dress sale. And then Bridget's like, I'm really...
I'm not well, and please, someone listen to me. Like, there's nothing worse.
I'm still throwing up.
Like, it's coming out of both ends.
Both ends.
Hear my prayers.
And then finally, thank God, Lizzie's like, babe, go lay down.
Well, good.
Yeah, go take a nap. It's totally fine. You can finish the windows tomorrow. And then, so she does. Then Lizzie says she goes to the barn. Okay, Bridget hasn't even fallen asleep when she hears Lizzie start screaming at 11:10 that father is dead, he's been killed. Okay. So the only two people who are in the house for the majority of the time that this could have happened are Lizzie and Bridget. And they both claim they didn't hear anything and they didn't see anything. Now the rhyme says that 40 whacks for Abby and 41 for Andrew. It was actually 19 times for Abby and Andrew a few less. But these two had been brutally murdered by a hatchet.
She killed her sister too? Or she killed her stepmom too? right then, like at the same
Well, we
time?
don't allegedly. Someone killed the
killed.
stepmom. Someone hit Abby 19 times. Prostitution whore engaged 19
19
times. Hit with a hatchet 19 times.
What? That should be the rhyme. We need to make that
We
the
need to
new official
rebrand it.
rhyme. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do a TikTok.
I was literally just thinking that and making it more accurate.
Yes.
Accurate. Prostitution whore hit with a hatchet 19 times.
We're always workshopping live, you guys.
We always are workshopping. So, okay. So Andrew was slumped on the couch in the downstairs sitting room, and he was, again, struck 10 or 11 times with a hatchet. One of his eyes had been split clearly in two, suggesting that he was asleep when attacked. Because I'm also like, how do you not hear anything if someone has been... But I guess if he was asleep...
He wouldn't scream?
I guess.
Isn't the sound of that going into like a skull pretty noisy?
Pretty intense.
Like...
Yeah. So his eye was split in two because he got whacked when he was asleep. So Lizzie sees her dad. We don't know about Abby yet, okay? But Lizzie sees her dad, and she's like, Bridget, go get Dr. Bowen. And Dr. Bowen is the family's physician. So Bridget runs. She goes and gets the family doctor. He comes from across the street. I'm sure he looked at Andrew and was like, I don't know what you want me to do here.
Yeah,
like this guy's
he's
dead.
dead.
He's dead, honey.
He is dead.
Baby, there is no plane. There's so much Bravo.
There's so much Bravo work.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God, it's perfect.
Yeah. So he's dead, babe. Like your dad is gone. Oof. So and then they're like, okay, fuck, where's Abby? So then they're like, all right, let's go search for Abby to tell her that her husband's dead. They find her dead upstairs. And according to the forensic investigation, Abby was facing her killer at the time of the attack. She was first struck on the side of the head with a hatchet, which cut her head just above the ear, causing her to turn around and fall. I'm just about to get the nervous church giggles, and I need to just address that, so it'll pass. Okay.
Oh,
she turned around and fell face down on the floor, fell down face down on the floor, creating contusions on her nose and forehead. Her killer then struck her multiple times, delivering 17 more direct hits to the back of her head, killing her. So Tess, they think that she was murdered around 9:30 a.m. when she went upstairs to make the bed, which means that the murderer killed her at 9:30 a.m. and they were in the house and then waited an hour because Andrew died around 10:45 a.m. And again, I'm just like, okay, especially if Abby was facing her killer, you would scream. Even if you're in shock and you can't get a scream out, I feel like once that hit you on the face,
yeah, you'd scream.
You
so
would
why
think
is
you
it
would
so
scream.
quiet?
I don't know. I mean, Bridget was outside washing the windows, but they did say that Lizzie was home. I'm very confused about that.
So, okay.
However, my question also is, they don't have indoor plumbing, right? So if it was Lizzie, wouldn't you be splattered with blood? And same thing with Bridget.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking weird to me that neither one of them heard, but neither one of them were covered in blood.
Yeah, their dresses would be their hands, their face.
Everything would just be, if you're whacking someone 19 times, you would be covered in blood.
Unless she changed quickly.
Well, she did have an hour. However, though, with her dad, you would still be covered in blood, wouldn't you?
No, that's so true. And,
so something to keep in mind. We will keep going.
Okay.
So the cops come to the house. There's no evidence of a break-in, by the way. So it's not like someone broke into the house. Someone was in the house. Everything seems normal. So now everyone is like, the big question is, how could someone do this to such a nice Christian white family?
Yeah, always.
So it's a big deal. Meanwhile, Lizzie is obviously upset because she's seen her dad in the state. She found her dad this way, and Abby. So the doctor gives Lizzie morphine.
God. She's just okay, they're getting right to it. Here, take this and shut up. Calm down.
They give her morphine, and then the police start questioning her while she's on morphine. Yeah.
Have you had morphine?
Oh, yeah. That's what I had when I had my kidney infection.
Oh, that's right.
In the ER.
What does it make you feel like?
We're chilling, babe.
We're chilling, babe.
We are chilling. Yeah, I was on morphine, and the ex-boyfriend came to the hospital and was like, "Can we go?" While I was hooked up to morphine. Men are amazing.
The story is on premium, and you will want to know who that ex-boyfriend is. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you will want to know who that ex-boyfriend is.
That's all I'm going to say. We're going to give it a little sneak peek.
So join premium. But yeah, I couldn't even be mad that he said that because I was on morphine.
Yeah, you're like, it's all good. So was Lizzie like, I don't know, man?
Well, the thing is, this morphine also had opium in it, so it made you kind of hallucinate.
She's flying
too.
high.
She's flying high. So according to
I'm dying that they just gave that to her immediately. Just like, take this.
Yeah.
And shut up.
And not only that, the cops were then like, Lizzie's way too calm to be believable. Like, her parents just died and she's way too calm.
Oh, God, you're shooting her up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, literally.
Yeah. Okay. So they thought she was too calm to be believable. Most of the officers who interviewed Lizzie reported that they disliked her attitude. Yeah. So then there wasn't really any blood on her. And they were like, what were you doing while this was all happening? Because remember how she said she went to the barn? I actually think this is the most haunting part of the whole story. She said she went to the barn to find irons for ironing, but she stayed there looking out the window, and she ate 3 pears before going inside to find Andrew. 3 pears while just staring outside the window?
I mean, God, I guess there weren't really sweet treats back then, right?
Oh, but God, 3, honey?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little...
Especially after you just had some tummy issues. Like,
Yeah.
you might want to cool it on the fiber.
Fruit's not the way to go after tummy issues,
No.
unless it's a banana.
And, oh my God.
Don't risk
That's
it.
so true.
Don't risk it.
I just, really dislike pears in general.
I know you do hate pears. I really like pear with, ice cream.
It just, it has to be the perfect amount of ripe. But pear is, a rich fruit.
I love a pear.
It's just, when people give pear baskets, I think that's such a disgrace.
No, I think pears needs to be, on a pastry or, something, caramelized. It needs work.
Well, you and Lizzie both loved the pears.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I would not have 3. I would not.
Yeah, staring out a window. So that's what she said. And then she's like, and then I came back inside and found my dad. So the officers start looking around the house, and then there was a bucket of bloody rags in the basement. However, they were menstrual rags. That was a thing back then.
Okay. Oh.
Yep.
So they could test it to know that it...
They did take it in for testing, but they also, looked at it. I guess it would be like going downstairs and finding, a trash can of
pads.
Of bloody tampons or pads, and then you know what that is.
Right.
At the time. So they found that. So they had no reason to believe otherwise that it was any other blood.
Okay.
So Lizzie's dad was murdered, and she's on her period. It's really tough times.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
She can't catch a break?
She cannot catch a break. So then they start, asking her more things. Remember, she's on morphine. And then they're like, when was the last time that you saw your mom and your dad? And Lizzie goes, she's my stepmom. She's not my mom. And they were like, did you just correct us?
They're manipulating her.
No, they just didn't like that she was a woman who corrected them. This landed her, the fact that she said she's my mom, not my stepmom, landed her as the primary suspect in the case.
Justice for stepkids.
Literally. And I would say the same thing.
Same.
That's not my mom.
Also, isn't that important to know? You know what I mean?
Yes. An officer later said, I don't like that girl. Isn't that so crazy?
She's like, you're obviously not from a divorced family or from a deceit,
oh, wow, must be nice.
Yeah, it must be nice.
Yeah. So they were just like, we don't like her attitude. She corrected us, and she's on her period, and she's gross.
Oh, God, sweetheart.
Yeah. So a few potential murder weapons were found. There was an axe with blood on it, but that was animal blood.
God, so much blood.
So much blood in this household.
From different things.
Yeah. A hatchet was found in storage. An axe is much larger and way too big and heavy to actually be the murder weapon. A hatchet is much smaller. So a hatchet was the murder weapon was found to be.
Okay.
So police initially kind of did think... it's probably an immigrant. If it's not the woman who's correcting us, it's got to be an immigrant.
Let's go find one, even if there's no evidence at all.
Literally. Because again, they were like, we can't fathom that a nice Christian woman could do this.
Right.
But it did get the town talking. So there was an inquest after the murders, which started on the 8th. So 4 days after the murders. And I think an inquest is just questioning things. I don't know.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, figuring things out. So Bridget was like very cooperative with the police officers and with like the judge and everything like that. She was calm. Lizzie didn't give them the same experience. Lizzie was giving contradictory testimony. She became incredibly frustrated and confused. Her answers like didn't match each other. She couldn't remember where she was at any given time. Guess what? She's still on morphine. They give her daily 16 milligrams of morphine.
Stop drugging her.
Yep. And like I said, the morphine contained opium, which is a hallucinogenic.
Oh my God, stop. This is like not useful for anyone.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, she wasn't allowed to have her lawyer with her family lawyer. She was like, I would like my lawyer here. And they're like, this isn't actually a trial. It's more just like an inquest. So
Guys,
no.
What do we always say? If someone starts questioning you,
I want my lawyer.
I want my lawyer.
I think that's the first time we've ever said that. You said something yesterday, and you're like, I always say, and it was so funny.
Something about like skincare?
Yeah, something like that was so funny.
No, I mean, guys, no talking.
Yeah, no talkie without the lawyer.
No, and they'll make you feel like you don't need one.
And that's scary,
That
too.
is so
And it's like,
scary.
these people should be like upholding the law the most.
Like in the night of. I mean, that's really when I was like, oh my God, the first 3 episodes, they're just trying to get him to talk.
And impeachment, like with Monica Lewinsky,
Oh
that
my
they
God,
tell
that
her
one
she can't like
episode.
call her mom or her lawyer.
No.
You always can call your mom, and you can always call your lawyer.
That, if there's one thing you learn from us.
Yeah, and those are the people that are going to protect you the most in your life.
So true.
Yeah. So she didn't have her lawyer with her, and they would ask her like questions about her relationship with Abby. They were like, were you guys close? And she's like, I mean, we were fine. And they were like, well, what do you mean by that? And she's like, I mean, it was cordial. I don't know what else you want me to say. And they'd be like, witch.
Oh, so now she's a witch.
Now she's a witch.
We knew this was coming.
Yeah. They didn't actually accuse her of being a witch because I'm sure we're just like we're like 300 years too late for that. But they were like, if we didn't learn before, we would be calling her a witch.
And I bet they're thinking it.
They are thinking it for sure. The same day of the inquest, Lizzie burned a dress over the stove. I guess people would burn their clothes when they wanted to get rid of them back then. They wouldn't have clothing swaps like we do nowadays.
Right.
They would burn them. Now, remember, Lizzie didn't have any blood on her. And if she did murder Abby and Andrew, she would. If she changed dresses, that would kind of explain it. There's also been.
What about like on her face?
Exactly. And on her hair.
Hands, hair, like
her
blood
hair.
gets crazy.
It gets crazy. And also, people tried to say later that she murdered them naked. But it's like, I don't think so.
That is really dark.
Yeah. She burned the dress after saying to Emma that she was going to burn this old thing because it got ruined by getting paint on it. And Emma was like, you should just burn it. But right when Lizzie does burn the dress, I guess their friend Alice was over. And she was like, that was the worst thing you could have done.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Yeah, and Lizzie was like, why didn't you stop me? Like, it does not look good if you're burning your clothes after your parents got murdered.
No.
So Alice testifies about this in the inquest. She was like, yeah, Lizzie burned a dress, which is like, that's your girl.
Oof. But God, if you're like, my girl just
I
killed her
know.
parents, like I need to do what's right.
It's so true. You're so right.
You
Like, I
know?
don't fault Alice for that because it's like, how could you really know?
No.
So she says, yeah, I saw Lizzie burn a dress. And this is what led to her being indicted. And she was arrested on August 11th, 1892. And she was officially indicted for the murder of her parents because they were like, she burned the dress. She must be hiding evidence.
Yeah. I mean, I think the same thing, at this point.
Yeah.
Especially because no one else was in the house besides Bridget and her.
Totally. Well, I will tell you that Lizzie and Alice's friendship does not survive this. And how could it?
How could it? But also, like, if you genuinely think your best friend just murdered 2 people, I don't think the relationship's not going to continue because then you're also going to be scared for your own safety.
Of course.
Like,
of course.
you know, it's hard to think about, but
I think that's actually being a good friend is like holding them responsible
we've
for
talked
murder.
about this before that if like
Yeah.
you or I really thought like one of us had killed someone, like
It would be a horrible situation to be in.
it really would.
Ugh, God. So I do feel for Alice in that way, but I also feel for Lizzie
I know, I do too.
because like your friendship betrayal on top of that, you know?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be
it's
hard
tough.
to see.
It would be. So Lizzie's trial took place in New Bedford starting on June 5th, 1893. So it's like almost a year after she gets arrested. Before that, in October, the October after the August that she got indicted, the Boston Globe comes out with this article that is titled, Lizzie Borden's secrets. And they claim that Lizzie was pregnant and that her dad knew about it and threatened to kick her out if she didn't tell him who knocked her up. He was like, you have 24 hours to tell me who knocked you up. No more, no less. And
wouldn't she have had the baby then if she was pregnant?
Huh. That's a great point.
Like, where's the baby? Where is the baby?
It's a great point. Well, the Boston Globe was like, yeah, also there are 25 witnesses present for this fight that they had that about like her being knocked up. Like 25 people were just standing around and seeing this fight, babe.
God, this is classic.
Yep.
This is classic.
Yeah. And also they were like, we also have witnesses that had seen a hooded Lizzie Borden in the window of Abby's room at the time of her murder. Within 10 hours, it's revealed that the whole story was a hoax. The lead crime reporter bought what he thought was a government case from a private detective for $500, but it was all a scam. But like the problem is, which you're so right, I didn't even think about that. Well, then where's the baby?
Right.
But if it's in the Boston Globe and people are reading this, like it's starting to be like a national story because a daughter accused of axe murdering her parents.
It's juicy.
You already you start getting something in someone's head. People are going to be like, well, it was her.
Totally.
Like whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
And God, we see that all the time
there's
today.
There's no other suspects too right now, right?
There's no other suspects right now.
Oh, God, that's so tough.
What is the press saying? There were two sides. Rich people press, like the high-end press, was like, this could never be done by her. It had to be an immigrant. It's so upsetting. And the lower class press was like, she has had so much privilege in all of this case. The amount of time it took her to get indicted, which I don't feel like was that long. Anyways, they're like, it probably was her. It was her. One thing that was a common thread in the newspaper, though, was the term hysteria.
Ah, classic.
Hysteria was thrown around a lot.
Of course, because if you're not hysterical, are
As
you even a woman?
There it is, Tess.
Wow.
So, yeah, you think that's bad. When people found out that she was on her period during the times of the murder.
Is this when it started? Are you on your period right now?
Possibly.
Is that why you're so angry?
Well, Tess, listen to this. People thought that menstruation was the entire problem of female behavior. And when women were on their period, it was very dangerous. Austrian criminal psychologist Hans Gross said menstruation lowered women's resistance to forbidden impulses, opening the floodgates to a range of criminal behaviors. He argued menstruation may bring women to the most terrible crimes. Various authors cite numerous examples of sensible women driven to the most inconceivable things, in many cases, to murder.
So now we want to kill people when we get our period.
Like, yes. But do we?
Say it again, actually. Yeah, say it louder. Like, test us.
Test us. But I'm like, okay, do you know? So every woman gets her period for a major chunk of her life.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah.
How many female murderers are there?
Exactly, Claire.
Like, I don't think so, babe.
Exactly. I think we can probably regulate it. I mean, we might think it.
I mean, if anything, it shows that we have the most restraints.
Most control, because God knows sometimes.
God knows.
The rage can be overwhelming.
And as a Cancer?
Whew.
As a Cancer woman on her period?
In the heat with food poisoning? Like, I would.
I would too.
I would.
So this works against her. People were just like, she's hysterical and she had to do it because she was on her period.
Crazy.
But
like, is this true? Like, did she?
The whole time. I know it does make you, but it is like, and again, like we'll talk, but it's just so crazy that neither her nor Bridget heard anything.
I'm really not understanding.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the trial. Mm-hmm. Lizzie was tried before a jury of 12 men, which we check out our Instagram at Right Answers Mostly. We'll have this in our carousel. Just like,
were women allowed to be jurors at this point?
I don't think
Probably
so.
not, right?
If women can't even vote, like I'm sure they're not.
I know. Like, when were women allowed to become jurors?
Maybe after they could vote, and like then it would just be white women as well.
Of course,
but it's like if they're saying that a woman killed her parents because she was on her period, they're definitely not going to let a woman decide if someone's guilty or innocent.
Wow.
I cannot talk today.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So crazy. But I just can't imagine how she must felt.
Oh my, yeah. Oh God.
Most of what we know about the Borden case actually comes from the prosecutor because their journals were released to the press in the 90s. So they had to find a motive to why she would do this. It's giving the Menendez brothers.
I was literally going to say, I'm like, was there abuse going on?
There,
or some sort of.
well, I mean, there was that rumor that there was incest, but as far as we know, and Lizzie has never come out saying anything. Like, Lizzie had a good relationship with her dad. There was, I guess why it's giving Menendez brothers is because she was rich and that she's being accused.
And people are immediately like,
she did
they don't
it.
like her.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, okay, but we have to find a reason why, because like killing anyone is crazy. Killing your parents is.
Would she get some money if she?
So, according to the prosecution, Lizzie wanted more in life and she wanted to move to the Hill, but
She's like, I've been obsessed with this goddamn hill.
and I will do anything to get there. Lizzie actually didn't know if her dad had a will, but the prosecution was like, she knew that her dad had a hill, or, oh my God. Oh my God. She knew that her dad had a will, and this is where killing Abby comes into play because of the death order. If Andrew did have a will and died before Abby, all of his estate would go to Abby. So we have to kill Abby so that if Abby dies and Andrew dies, then the estate goes to the girls.
Right.
To the girlies.
Okay, so that's motivation.
So that is the motivation. Just like in the Menendez brothers, they're spoiled brats who killed their parents, which we're re-releasing our Menendez brothers episode this month. Check it out.
Yeah, such a good episode.
Yeah. To get money. Okay.
So she wants the money.
Exactly.
But God, to still kill your parent just from. But like, I guess it's just a different time too. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a pretty easy and good case for them to make back then because women can't work in the way that women can today.
Right. There's no like freedom or financial freedom they could have without their fathers at this point.
Right. And they're not married.
Right.
And there was also no hope for them to be married because
they're spinsters.
And so they're past the point of marrying age. And also their dad, which is crazy because they were 32, but their dad also wasn't involved in like society or hanging out with people on the Hill. So there wouldn't have been any good prospects for them to marry anyways because
like,
they weren't involved.
Like, we just wanted you to matchmake instead of someone hot.
Seriously. And cool.
And cool. That's all you can ask for.
It really is all you can. Like, this is the least that their dad could have done. But so they're like, they killed them for that. So then remember how everyone also got food poisoning. How could we forget that? Mm-hmm. So the prosecution introduces this theory that Lizzie tried to poison her family, but she didn't succeed the first time. And so that's why she ended up using the hatchet. And they supported this claim because, according to one witness, they saw Lizzie go to a drugstore the day before the murders and ask if she could buy 10 cents worth of prosaic acid. And diluted prosaic acid was used to treat a variety of things, but in concentrated form, which is how Lizzie wanted to buy it, it was colorless and it was poison. So apparently, she was trying to buy it to seal a skin cape that was eaten by moths. And in fact, prosaic acid was sometimes used to kill moths. The pharmacist apparently was like, no, I can't sell you this without a doctor's prescription, basically. So if that was Lizzie, because it was just a witness account,
right?
Then she didn't buy the acid anyways. So the doctor only comes forth to testify himself, saying that this happened when the case is like an all-time high. Like, he didn't do this at any time before.
Like, if that actually was the case, that would have been like a huge piece of evidence.
And he also said, well, I might have mistaken her for someone else too.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, she's like a plain Jane girl.
Yeah.
She's a brunette in the 1800s.
Wearing a hoop skirt like everyone else. Like everyone looks the same probably from behind.
Exactly. So he's like, well, it could have been her. I don't know. And then it also comes out that the wife of a police officer around that same time went to a drugstore, that same drugstore, to test the pharmacist if they would illegally sell her poison without a prescription. And she was, in fact, told no. So it was possible that it could have been, the police officer's wife. All this is just like, without security footage, like, how are we supposed to get anywhere?
Just people being like, yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't trust anyone.
They just want the drama.
They do.
So that case, like, it wasn't like the shakiest, or it was a very shaky, it wasn't like a strong argument for them.
Yeah.
Her friend Alice gives testimony, and Alice described a visit from Lizzie the night before the murders, in which, like we said before, she announced that she would be soon going on, or actually Lizzie was like, I'm going to go on vacation soon, but I actually might delay it because I think someone's trying to kill my dad. So she testifies that.
She's like, so hold up, just a sec.
And then she also says that Lizzie told her that she wanted to go to sleep with one eye open half the time for fear somebody might burn the house down or hurt her father because he was so discourteous to people. So she said this the night before the murders. I guess like you could make the argument of like she was setting the stage.
Right.
Or you can make the argument of being like, she said this before the murders even happened. Like she knew something was going on.
And like, why would she be talking so much about murder if she had been planning to do it? Like,
great point, Tess, which brings us to the burning of the dress.
Right.
Because the prosecution, again, tried to say, like, she was burning the dress and that was, like, presented as evidence of guilt. And the defense was like, why would someone, because Alice was there when she was burning the dress, they were like, why would someone hold evidence like that, like, just right in someone's face?
Yeah.
And, like, wouldn't it be covered in blood?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't.
Where did the blood go?
Where did the blood go? So that was like one the first things that went wrong for the prosecution. And then when it came to light later that Lizzie was denied a lawyer, everything that they had as evidence from the inquest had to be thrown out. So like that like couldn't even be presented to the jurors anymore. So then both of the victims' heads had been so gross removed during the autopsy. And the skulls were admitted as evidence during the trial and presented on June 5th, 1893. And upon seeing the skulls in the courtroom, Lizzie fainted. And so the jurors see this and they're like, if this girl's fainting over skulls, how could she like chop up her parents?
Was it a real faint?
Well, that's a great question. But again, it's like
Lisa Vanderpump, Dancing with the Stars.
Thank you for taking it
Of
there.
course.
It's their most Bravo episode yet.
It literally is.
Oh, wow. I love that.
I do too.
But I don't know. I guess, the thing is with trials, though, guilty without a reasonable doubt, right? That's the phrase?
Yep.
So it's like, how can you really test if it's a real faint or not?
Yeah, that's true.
But she did faint. And so the juries were like, no. And then, and then Emma testifies. So Emma's back in town from her dress fitting.
She's like, what did I miss?
Oh, Emma, we don't have the time.
No.
So she testifies and she's like, listen, I hated our stepmom more than she did, more than Lizzie did, but I didn't kill her. So, like, Lizzie definitely didn't kill her because she didn't hate her as much as I did. The jury was sent to deliberate on June 20th, 1893, and after an hour and a half of deliberation, which is not that long,
No.
the jury acquitted Lizzie Borden of the murders. So she was found innocent.
Oh, innocent.
I feel like when it's an hour and a half, like, that's a good sign for you.
Yeah, because is it usually, can it be like days?
I think so. I mean, if you're deciding someone's fate like that, yeah. And like you're just going back and forth.
So they think she's innocent.
So they think she is innocent. Upon exiting the courthouse, she told reporters she was the happiest woman in the world, which is like, I get it, but like your parents are still dead. So
Yeah, maybe don't say that. It's not great.
she really needed a PR team.
Yeah.
This trial test has been compared to the later trials of O.J. Simpson as a landmark in publicity and public interest in the history of American legal proceedings. Like the whole country had eyes on Lizzie Borden.
It was never found out who did it?
Nope.
Damn it.
Yeah, we still have some more. Okay, so let's talk about speculation then. Like
Right.
what people think now, because a lot of people still think that she did it. I don't think she did it. I just think like if she did it, she would be covered with blood.
Yeah, the blood and the...
But then it's like, but how did you guys not hear anything? Okay, so let's talk about some theories.
Yeah.
So one big suggestion to support that she did do it was that there's rumors that she was physically and sexually abused by her father, which led her to kill him.
Right, but there's
little evidence to support this, and incest is not a topic that would have been discussed at the time.
Did she have a journal?
Well, the prosecution did, but I don't know if she did.
Right, okay.
But if she was burning her dress, I'm sure she burned her journals if she
Yeah,
was writing
that's true.
things down.
God.
And the methods for collecting physical evidence would have been quite different in 1892, but people were whispering people were whispering about the incest anyways, so then I think people were like, and then she killed her dad because of it. That's something it's just like, we will never know.
We'll never know.
Another thing, mystery author Evan Hunter suggested in his 1984 novel Lizzie that she committed the murders after being caught in a tryst with Bridget. the Irish servant.
She's hooking up?
Yeah. And I think that's what the Kristen, what's her name? Kristen Stewart movie is that she plays Lizzie Borden and she's hooking up with Bridget Maggie.
Oh, I feel like there's always been some like lesbian interest in this case. Okay, that makes
There's lesbian folklore.
Okay.
Yes, and also she wasn't married and she was older, so the people were like, lesbian.
Gay.
Yeah. So the rumor is that Lizzie and Bridget were hooking up, and then Abby caught them, and they were like, shit, we just got caught, and Abby freaked out. And then Lizzie killed Abby with a candlestick, and then Andrew comes home, and she's like, so some things happened while you were gone. And she tells Andrew about the hookup and the murder, and then he freaks out. So then she kills him with a hatchet.
Okay.
So that is, and then that they disposed of the hatchet somewhere afterwards.
And the bloody.
Yeah. And then which, like, honestly, if there's any theory, that could have made the most sense.
Because that's why they're not like, we heard.
That's what we didn't hear
anything. So they're both in on it.
Exactly. So that, of all the theories, could really be the one that would make the most sense of not hearing things, not having blood on it, because they have enough time to like be in it together. They're not in a rush. No one else is there.
Yeah, that's so true.
So there was a rumor that Lizzie was a lesbian, but there was no speculation about Bridget being a lesbian because she married a man later on in life.
Well, that doesn't really say,
Exactly.
That actually, yeah, because to me, the missing piece is just like the silence. And Bridget, I mean, has not been like treated amazingly by this family, it seems, because when she had food poisoning, she still had to wash the windows. So you'd think that she would have been like, yeah, I heard a curdling scream.
Especially by Abby.
Mm-hmm.
So also motivation to kill Abby, too.
I would kill someone if they made me wash the windows.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, she doesn't like this family, so like, why
would she protect them?
Why would she protect them? Unless she was in love with one.
Yep, if she wasn't getting a little sexy time.
Yeah. What
else do you need, She's just a woman.
Yeah, it's not even worth anything.
No.
That theory, I think, makes the most sense.
To me, yeah, that is the one. And I'm like, maybe they did just like, maybe they put, I don't know. Still, the blood is confusing me how there's no blood on any, but maybe they washed it off quickly.
Right. Well, but again, like where? Because there's no indoor plumbing. So they would have to like have drawn a bath. And then they do have
the water.
Yeah, and they do have like the timing right on people though too. Like they do know that he was killed around 10:45 because he was also out running errands. Like people saw him.
What if there's a way? Can you kill someone that way without getting it all over your face? Like, is it an angle thing?
You've seen the Candy Montgomery show.
No, that's true.
Which we'll talk about.
I'm like,
there's just no way.
Yeah, no.
Without getting that all over, they said it was like Dexter style.
Yeah, no, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah. Okay, and then this is another theory that actually could be, I also think another significant suspect is John Morse, Lizzie's maternal uncle.
Oh.
He was there the morning of the murders. He left. But according to law enforcement, he provided an absurdly perfect and over-detailed alibi for the death of Abby Borden.
Well, over-detailed seems almost suspicious.
I know. But I'm like, maybe, like, who knows what his motive could have been.
And it wasn't a break-in because it's all like someone that you know.
Exactly.
And he had already been there.
Exactly. And that would explain the blood. Because if he was covered in blood and he snuck out, the sound is still a little confusing. But also, well, it doesn't make sense. Well, I guess if Andrew was asleep, then maybe we wouldn't have heard a scream from Andrew. And Abby was killed while Bridget was outside washing the window. Yeah, so it's just, why did Lizzie not hear Abby get killed?
I mean, the house was kind of like in a weird configuration. What if like the sound was really off? Because they're,
Totally.
Like, totally. What if it was just what if like, did they have proper hearing?
It's all great questions.
Like without a hallway.
I know.
That gives less like echo.
That's true. But then is it like more connected that the sound goes through it? So I think, I don't know, it's either that they were hooking up or the uncle, I feel.
But what would be the uncle's motivation? Because he wouldn't get money.
Well, maybe he's like, I can't believe that you remarried after my sister. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he was angry at that.
But maybe they got in a fight about something. Like maybe Andrew, and this is why you like have to present actual evidence in court, because it's like maybe him and Andrew had like bad business dealings and were like coming up with a plan. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you think she did it?
God, the romantic aspect, I'm like, I could totally see it, but I kind of don't think so. Like, I think it was the perfect storm of her being a woman on her period. And so it's like, who else could have been?
I know. I almost don't want to say I think it's her because it's just like,
well,
the
and
burning of the dress is weird though.
well, she did brush up against paint. Like, there was wet paint, and Emma had accounted that too. But Emma's her older sister who said she was going to be like her mom. So, of course, she's going to say that. But I believe Alice was there when she was burning the dress. So, wouldn't you see blood on it?
And you wouldn't want to burn evidence in front of someone if you had just done it. That would be something that you do in your spare time.
Yeah.
So that you're not being questioned or like.
Yeah.
Unless it's the opposite of like, look, this is like an innocent thing. And
it's so crazy.
I don't know.
Okay, well, let's talk about what happened after the trial.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the trial, the Borden sisters they moved into a large modern house on the hill. So they got what they wanted. They wasted no time.
It's okay. They're like, let's move on in. Let's get interior designer. Have a fucking hallway finally.
We can flip some of these houses on the hill.
They are real estate angels through and through.
And then Lizzie changes her name to Lizbeth A. Borden, which is like not that different, but I'd probably change my name after all of this. At their new house, they had a staff that included live-in maids, a housekeeper, and a coachman. Because Abby was ruled to have died before Andrew, her estate went first to Andrew and then at his death to both of his daughters. A considerable settlement, however, was paid to settle claims by Abby's family. I guess they were like, I don't know. We've gone through so much stress through all this. Despite the acquittal, Lizzie was ostracized by Fall River Society. Like, she moved to the Hill, but she was not accepted
that's tough.
at the Hill. Yeah. Her name was again brought into the public eye, God, Lizzie, when she was accused of shoplifting in Providence, Rhode Island in 1897. And then in 1905, shortly after an argument over a party that Lizzie had given for an actress, Nance O'Neill, Emma moved out of the house and never saw her sister again. It's like, for that, you guys have been through so much. Like, work it out on the remix. My God.
That's almost suspicious too.
It's crazy. Yeah, she threw a house party and Emma got so pissed that you guys don't talk to each other again.
Unless there was a conversation at the house party.
Oh.
Of like, I need to admit something.
Oh, a few cocktails.
Yeah, a few martinis and you're going to say it all.
Is it drunk minds speak sober hearts?
Uh-huh. Yeah, Claire.
That's very true, Tess. Lizzie was ill in her last year following the removal of her gallbladder, and then she died of pneumonia on June 1st, 1927 in Fall River at the age of 66. Funeral details were not published and few attended.
Oh.
9 days later, Emma died of chronic nephritis in a nursing home. So 9 days after her sister dies. She moved to New Hampshire in 1923 for health reasons and to avoid renewed attention following the publication of another book about the murder. So I guess people started putting books out about it. And it turns out not all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
The Borden sisters, neither of whom had ever married. I'm like, why did they put that in, guys? My God.
Because let it go. It doesn't like define you as a woman, okay? Aren't we like finally there?
We're not finally there. They were buried side by side in the family plot in Oak Grove Cemetery. At the time of her death, Lizzie Borden was worth over $250,000, equivalent to almost $6 million today. She owned a house on the corner of French Street and Belmont Street, several office buildings, and shared in several utilities, 2 cars, and a large amount of jewelry. She left, I love this, she left $30,000, the equivalent to $700,000, to the Fall River Animal Rescue League.
Angel.
I love that she's like, I don't have kids, but I love animals.
We love that. It's like Jennifer Aniston vibes.
And Frida Kahlo vibes.
Truly, I'm all about it.
Yeah, so it is like Jennifer Aniston vibes. You're so right.
She's so passionate.
You're so right. And then she left $500, which would be $12,000 in trust for perpetual care of her father's grave. And then she also left some cash for families and friends that still talk to her. And that is Lizzie Borden.
Wow, Claire. What a fun episode.
What do you think?
Oh, God. I'm like,
I know.
It's hard to say that it's like the uncle because I'm just like, what? There is no motivation.
Totally.
For Lizzie, there would be more motivation if she gets money and how much she hates her stepmom and if she's hooking up with the maid.
Definitely. I mean, I think the crime of passion of being caught hooking up with, allegedly, with Bridget makes more sense because of like how that was viewed in society back then more than
Right.
her not liking Abby. Like,
No, that's true.
And then to kill your dad, who she did have a good relationship with.
I
Like,
don't know, but she just like doesn't seem like she would kill. I don't know.
I mean, she was so upset about her dad killing her pigeons. It's like, allegedly.
No, I know.
It's like, you're going to kill. The pigeons are like, yeah, we're going to sue you if you don't say allegedly about that.
But also, God, like at this time, evidence was just like not as. You know what? I'm going to say I don't think she did it. Because.
Wink, wink.
I just like, it is tough because it's just like the woman always get, you know, women being like the hysteria, the period thing. I don't know. I really don't know. I need more time, I think, to think about it.
Let this process. We can talk about this on premium when we revisit another female axe murderer.
I don't know right now. I don't have a gut feeling.
It's crazy. I don't really know either. At the start of this, like just from the way that everyone talked, I was like, oh, she 100% did it.
Same.
And then like, well, I will say this, and it's good to check in with our family. You're wrong about does not think that she did it.
Okay. That's good. And she is our older sister.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. These are the crimes that I'm like, God. Well, right after we find out at the Golden Gates about John Bonet, let's ask about Lizzie Borden.
That's true. That can be like number 2.
Yeah.
I still need to know John Bonet. Like that eats me up inside.
Of course. John Bonet, Lizzie Borden, Kaylor,
and what happened on the Don't Worry Darling set.
Yeah.
Those are all things I really need to know.
Same.
And also like what couples in Hollywood like hate each other that have been together for a long time that like hook up with other people.
That are like open? Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, let's save that for the bottom because we can assume that most of them.
No, that's true. We can say that for the bottom.
Yeah. John Bonet always at the top.
Always at the top. Well, yeah, guys, let us know what you think.
Yes.
Especially because I'm sure people have their preconceived notions. And after this episode, maybe it changed a little bit.
Yeah.
So let us know now what you think.
Yes, you can follow us at Right Answers Mostly. We have a carousel that you can check out all the pictures and you can leave comments letting us know what you think.
Please do. Great job, Claire.
Thanks.
How fun
it was
for
so
spooky
fun.
season.
You Rammies have the best suggestions.
You guys really do. You have great taste.
Of course.
They are just Rammies after all.
They are just Rammies after all. Guys, we love you. We're loving spooky season. Please share this episode on your socials. It makes such a difference. If anything, it just makes our day when you do.
Truly.
Yeah. So share that on Instagram. Make a TikTok about us like Amy.
Oh, Amy, we love you. We're still thinking of you.
And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week for something fun.
Yes, a little tease.
Tease, if you will.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we love you. Happy spooky season.
Goodbye.